What's up, my nerds? I'm the roleplay gamer, and I like to party. Today I'd like to talk about the recently announced Conan Exiles. I'd like to talk about why I'm excited about it, and a couple of concerns I have. So why am I making a video about a game no one's played, and that hasn't even been released yet? Two reasons. First and foremost, the reason I created this channel in the first place is because I love sharing my passion for gaming. I love sharing things that I'm excited about, and I'm excited for the potential of Conan Exiles. It's kind of the game I never knew I always wanted, and we'll get to that in a second. The second reason is, just in case anyone missed the announcement, I honestly believe this is a game that a lot of you Skyrim fans would get a kick out of, whether it's watching it or playing it or both. So just to be clear, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to hype you up unnecessarily. Again, I'm just sharing something that I'm excited about. So what is Conan Exiles? If we head over to the Steam page here, we're talking an open world survival game set in the brutal lands of Conan the Barbarian. Survive in a hostile world, build your kingdom, and dominate your enemies in both single and multiplayer. Oh yes, take me now. Oh, I'm dudes, guys. I'm kind of moist and excited for this. So I'm a huge fan of Conan and the backstory, the world, the Hyborian Age and whatnot. So this helps a little bit. But looking at some of the features, it's just, the Conan IP aside, I think looking at the features, I would be excited about this anyway. So we're talking a mix between ARK and SKYRIM. And this is, something that the developers have said themselves. That's their vision for the game, somewhere between ARK and SKYRIM. And that, my friends, that is like, holy shit, yes. Mother of Christ. So, I love the Skyrim formula, the Bethesda formula. I do. It's just Skyrim in particular. Look, I've played over 1,000 hours. You guys know it's not a new game anymore. It's not as fresh and exciting as it once was. We can't hold on to the past forever. So I'm always on the lookout for a new game that gives a similar experience, even just a hint of it. And Conan Exiles might just scratch that itch. So it's got your standard online survival game kind of stuff. You go out, you collect resources, you can build buildings, craft weapons, as far as I understand. But then it's got NPC factions. And this is where it's like, hello, we're looking at something a little bit different here. This is more the Skyrim influence. So we're not talking like a lot of quests and a story-driven game. In fact, I believe they said there's no dialogue and no quests, but the factions are entities that you can interact with. They will, I think they're by default hostile. I'm not sure if I've read anything about allying with them, but you can definitely, attack them, dominate them. You can capture people from NPC factions and break their will and make them work for you or make them fight for you. And this is something that you can experience in both the single player and the multiplayer. One thing I really like that the devs said, I believe it was in the Reddit AMA, which I will link you to in the description. They said that the single player and multiplayer is an identical experience. The only difference is that single player is going to be a little bit more empty because it won't have those other human players in it. And that's something that I really like, that it's not a separate game mode. It's the same world and the same gameplay. So if you don't feel like interacting with strangers, if you don't have people you can trust to play with, and you don't like the ganking culture, I guess, that sort of hostile gameplay, you can have the exact same experience in single player, which is something that I feel you couldn't really do in ARK, because you haven't got other, I guess, people on your level. You haven't got those NPC factions who are basically computer versions of yourself. ARK feels very lonely as a single player experience. On top of all this, we've got magic or sorcery, if you will, and this is connected to the religion system. So you devote yourself to a particular god, and that's going to govern what kind of benefits you can get. I don't know how overt this sorcery is going to be, if we're actually going to be like casting spells or it's more bonuses and whatnot. They've given a couple of examples of the kind of bonuses you can get if you worship Set, and they said snake arrows or something like that, but beyond that I don't really know. But you'll see in the footage continuing to play in the video here, there's an altar of Set, which is that big thing with a snake coiled around it. So as part of the religion system and the sorcery, you've got to keep providing tribute to your chosen god. And if you fail in providing that tribute, apparently the gods get a little bit vengeful. So the example they gave that in the case of Set, if you fail to provide tribute, the snake will actually attack you. And I love that. That is so cool. Now, the last thing that got me really excited about this game is the Purge System. Now, they didn't go into a huge amount of detail, but as far as I understand, we've got NPC armies that will occasionally sweep through the land and basically take everything out. Now, it's not a guaranteed wipe. You can defend against these guys, which is fantastic. As someone who loves playing defensively, someone who loves turtling in RTSs, for example, this sounds like so much fun and just a great way to shake things up. So, usually in these sort of games, you build up this big camp or base or whatever, and it's like, so what? Especially if you're playing single player, there's nothing to really challenge you. And that's actually a big problem I had with the settlement system in Fallout 4. In my experience, at least, my settlements were rarely attacked, and it was hardly ever, in fact, never a challenge, really. My settlement was never really at risk. And I love the fact that we've actually got a risk now. We've got a reason to build defenses. That's just fantastic. That's something developers should deal with more often. Give us a reason to build. Give us a reason to craft. I love that. Alright, now as promised, I do also have some concerns, and you've probably already guessed what I'm going to say here. Conan Exiles is a multiplayer survival game releasing into early access. Ooh, that's if past experience has taught us anything, that's pretty much a recipe for failure, right? Look, that is a concern, yes. I personally am cautiously optimistic because it's Funcom, because it's a developer that I've heard of and that's been around for a little while. It's not like ARK that released into early access with 5 developers or something that I'd never heard of before. It was a little bit iffy. And make no mistake here, it's not like I've got any special love or trust for Funcom. It's not like I'm a Funcom fanboy or anything like that. I know almost nothing about the company. I just know that they've been around for a little while, and I do trust them to actually release the game. I don't know if the game's going to be any good. I don't know if it's going to be riddled with bugs or not, but I do believe they will release it. Speaking of releases, the game will be releasing into early access on the 31st of January. I believe that's the 1st of February in Australia. And they say that they don't want to be in early access for more than a year, which is a promise they hopefully stick to. Anyway, guys, there you go. Conan Exiles, as I said before, just making this video because I'm excited for the potential of the game, hoping it actually releases. And it's not just something I see us having a lot of fun with in terms of making videos on the channel, it's also something that we can potentially play together, assuming that it's any good, that's not riddled with bugs, it's actually something we want to play. I can see us having so much fun together in a server, building a settlement, conquering those NPC factions, defending our little patch of land. Oh yes, fingers crossed, guys. Anyway, keep an eye out in the new year. I plan to take a thorough look at Conan Exiles and figure out if it's worth your time at all, and if it's worth buying into the early access. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to gently caress that like button. It needs love like everything does. Taste the game, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.